I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel.
This very interesting story was suggested to us by one of our subscribers, Tough Girl 922. We'd like to say thank you, Tough Girl, and we do welcome suggestions from our subscribers. Thank you.
One of the most significant discoveries in archaeology history was made by Black Cowboy George McJunkin. Whoever said that we did not make any contributions to society did not know what they were talking about.
He was born a slave in Midway, Texas. McJunkin was approximately 9 years old when the Civil War ended. As a young adult, he worked as a cowboy and he reportedly learned how to read from fellow cowboys. He was very good at everything he did, and eventually the word around town was McJunkin was one of the best horse breakers and cowboys in New Mexico. He began to trade lessons in breaking horses for lessons in reading, and soon began reading anything he could get his hands on. McJunkin taught himself how to write, speak Spanish, play the fiddle and guitar, eventually becoming an amateur archaeologist and historian. This man was driven and he was simply amazing. In 1868, McJunkin arrived in New Mexico and worked his way up to become a foreman on the Thomas Owens Pitchfork Ranch. McJunkin became a buffalo hunter and worked for several ranches in Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. He was also reported to be an expert bronco rider and one of the best ropers in the United States. He again became foreman for the Crowfoot Ranch near Folsom, New Mexico. By now, he was fluent in Spanish and had become somewhat of an intermediary between the Mexican and Anglo communities in the area. He had always been curious about the natural world around him and was particularly interested in science.
George's greatest achievement would come after the worst catastrophe the dry Cimarron Valley had ever seen. On August 27, 1908, a thunderstorm dropped 14 inches of rain on Johnson Mesa, just above the Crowfoot Ranch near Folsom, New Mexico. The flood decimated the town of Folsom and eroded the valley. After the flood, George surveyed the damage, and while riding up Wild Horse Arroyo, he noticed bones protruding from the bank nearly 11 feet below the surface. He knew they were unusual because of their large size and his familiarity with modern bison. He knew that the bones were too big to be modern bison and must be bones of an extinct species. Wild Horse Arroyo, a Folsom site, is now a major archaeological site about 8 miles west of Folsom, New Mexico, because of the discovery by George McJunkin.
In this painting, we see a picture of the extinct bison that roamed the earth more than 10,000 years ago, whose bones were discovered by the great George McJunkin. And the modern day bison, who still roam the earth today. At the time of George's discovery, there was a great debate about human antiquity in North and South America. The foremost expert of the times, Alice Adlicka, refused to accept human presence older than about 3,000 years in the Americas. However, McJunkin's observation came to be pivotal in this debate. he sent samples of bones and artifacts to the Denver Museum of Natural History in 1908, but scientists didn't visit the site until 1925. McJunkin's discovery of the Folsom site paved the way for scientists to interpret the geological context and the archaeological association of human-made stones with bones of extinct bison. The scientific evolution of the site in 1926 pushed the iniquity of the human presence in the New World to the late Ice Age. At least 10,000 years ago, when extinct animals like bison antiquitas roamed the Great Plains of North America. Folks, that bears repeating. Bones were found to be 10,000 years older than had previously been thought, discovered by George McJunkin, which proved that man was on this hemisphere at least 7,000 years than had previously been thought. This man knew, long before the so-called experts and the professional archaeologists knew, that what he had discovered was something really unique, and it in fact changed the whole concept of when man actually first walked in America. George realized the importance of his discovery long before any of the so-called experts or the professional archaeologists did. So he removed a few bones and skull and showed them to anyone that would listen to him for the next 14 years, including his friend Carl Swanham. Sadly, George passed away in the Folsom Hotel in January 1922, but the story does not end there. 4 years after his death, his friend Swanham showed the Colorado Museum of Natural History the site George had discovered. The museum, with intentions of recovering bison antiques for display, excavated this site in 1926 and revealed something amazing. During the dig, archaeologists found a stone projectile point lodged in the ribs of one of the extinct bison. The bison had gone extinct during the last ice age. Finding a man-made point in association with the 8,000-year-old skeleton turned out to be the greatest archaeological find in the 20th century, proving that man had inhabited the North American continent thousands of years before scholars thought. This discovery made him famous, but his courage, determination, and perseverance is what is remembered about this man, a true cowboy. We feel that this great black man's name should be known the world over, along with those like Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, and so many others. Yet, many of us don't know his name. Well, on this channel, we know his name, George McJunkin. Almost 100 years after his death, George McJunkin took his place beside his fellow legends at the Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City in April 2019. The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where Black history is every day.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, thou art rich.